I always thought I had a good marriage. Lisa and I had been together for 8 years, married for 5. We had our ups and downs like any couple, but nothing that ever made me doubt her loyalty. Or at least, that's what I told myself. Looking back, I see the cracks that had been forming for months, maybe even years. The subtle changes in her routine, the way she suddenly became obsessed with her appearance, the mysterious work nights that seemed to pile up out of nowhere. I chalked it up to stress, to her job as a marketing manager being more demanding. I wanted to believe her. I needed to believe her. But there was one moment that stuck with me, like a splinter I couldn't pull out. It was late, past midnight, and I had woken up thirsty. When I rolled over, Lisa wasn't in bed. Not unusual. She sometimes had trouble sleeping. But as I walked toward the kitchen, I heard her whispering, "Low, urgent." I stopped. Her voice carried through the quiet house, hushed but intense. Then, a giggle. Not just any laugh, but that laugh. The one she used to give me in the early days of our relationship, back when we couldn't keep our hands off each other. My stomach twisted. I didn't barge in. Instead, I stepped back into the shadows and waited. A minute later, I heard the call end. A sigh. Then she walked into the kitchen, still clutching her phone, a dazed little smile on her lips. That was the first real moment I knew something was wrong, and I ignored it. After that night, I told myself I was overreacting. Maybe she was just talking to a friend. Maybe I had misheard the tone in her voice. Maybe I was just being insecure. But doubt is like a slow poison. It doesn't kill you all at once. It seeps into your thoughts, lingers in the background, makes you question things you would have never second-guessed before. And suddenly, I started noticing more. Lisa had always been glued to her phone, but lately, she was extra cautious. The screen was always tilted away from me. Her laughter, once carefree and natural, now seemed guarded, like she was afraid I'd ask what was so funny. And then came the biggest red flag, the late nights. Lisa's job had always been demanding, but these urgent projects seemed to have no end. Meetings running until midnight. Last-minute changes requiring her to stay at the office. Client dinners that left her coming home smelling like expensive wine and minty gum, as if she were trying to erase any lingering evidence of something more. I started testing the waters, making little comments. "You've been working late a lot lately." Her reaction was immediate, defensive, irritated. "You know how my job is, Ryan. Do you want me to lose my job?" That shut me up. Not because I believed her, but because I knew if I pushed too hard, she'd turn it around on me. She'd make me the paranoid husband, the controlling asshole who didn't trust his wife. And I wasn't ready to have that fight. Not yet. So instead, I played along. I acted normal. I pretended I didn't notice the way she always seemed just a little too eager to leave in the mornings, how she started wearing perfume to work, how she avoided intimacy with me but still posted flirty selfies online. I let her think I was clueless, but I wasn't, and I was about to get my proof. Pretending not to know was harder than I thought. Every time she walked out that door, I felt like a fool. Every time she smiled at her phone, my stomach twisted into knots. But I had to be smart. If I confronted her too soon, she'd just deny everything. I needed something concrete. So, I started watching. Not in a crazy, stalking my wife kind of way. Just paying closer attention. I noted the times she left for work, and when she came home. I made mental notes of the nights she stayed out late, comparing them to her work calendar when she left it open on her laptop. And it didn't take long for the inconsistencies to pile up. Then came the real clue. One Saturday morning, Lisa was in the shower, her phone buzzing on the nightstand. Normally, she kept it glued to her side, but she must have been distracted. I glanced at the screen. A message popped up. A name I didn't recognize. "Mike, had a great time last night. Can't wait to see you again," winking-faced. My heart stopped. Mike. I knew a Mike. He was one of her coworkers. Married. We had met him and his wife at a company dinner once. I had shaken his damn hand. I stood there, frozen, staring at the message like it would suddenly rewrite itself. Like there was some innocent explanation I wasn't seeing. But there wasn't. My ears were ringing. My hands clenched into fists. I wanted to grab her phone, scroll through everything, get every answer I had been dreading. But I didn't. Because I needed to be smart. I put the phone back down and walked out of the room just as I heard the water shut off. For the rest of the day, I played it cool, smiled, laughed, acted like I didn't just see a message that confirmed my worst fears. Because now I had a name. And I was going to find out everything. Knowing his name changed everything. It wasn't just suspicion anymore. It was real. A real man. A real betrayal. Mike. The name sat in my mind like a splinter I couldn't pull out. I wanted to confront Lisa right then and there, demand the truth, make her admit to what she was doing. But I knew how that would go. She'd lie. She'd gaslight. She'd flip it on me. No, I needed more. So, I started planning. First, I did a little digging. It didn't take much. Lisa wasn't exactly careful, probably because she thought I'd never suspect anything. A quick search through our shared computer's browser history showed me her work schedule, her frequent text with Mike, and even a few location searches that didn't make sense. I also checked her social media. Nothing obvious, but subtle things stood out. A new necklace I had never seen before. A dinner at a restaurant she claimed was just with coworkers, but had only one empty wine glass in the background of her photo. Small things, but they added up. Then, I did something I never thought I'd do. I bought a tracker. Not one of those obvious, stick it under the car things. That would be too easy to find. No, this was a small, magnetic GPS tracker that I could attach under the lining of her purse. It would send real-time locations to my phone. I felt disgusting doing it, but I needed the truth. That Friday night, Lisa was getting ready for another late meeting. She put on her best black dress, curled her hair, sprayed on the perfume I hadn't smelled on her in months. I forced myself to smile as she kissed me goodbye. Then, I waited. The moment she was out of sight, I opened the app on my phone. She wasn't heading to her office. She was going in the opposite direction, straight to a hotel. Watching that little red on my phone move toward a hotel shattered every last shred of hope I had left. There was no more guessing, no more second-guessing myself. Lisa wasn't at a late meeting. She wasn't working overtime. She wasn't with colleagues. She was meeting him. I sat there, gripping my phone so tightly my fingers went numb. My breathing was shallow, my heart hammering against my ribs. The confirmation hit me like a brick to the chest, but I didn't break. Not yet. Instead, I grabbed my keys and got in my car. I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe I wanted to see it with my own eyes. Maybe I wanted to catch them in the act, make them feel the humiliation I was drowning in. Or maybe I just needed to know, really know, so I could never again fool myself into thinking I was paranoid. It didn't take long to reach the hotel. It was one of those high-end ones, the kind with sleek glass doors and a doorman standing outside like a gatekeeper to people's dirty little secrets. I parked across the street, far enough not to be noticed but close enough to see everything. Then, I waited. It didn't take long. 15 minutes later, a car pulled up. And there he was. Mike. I felt my hands tighten around the steering wheel. Seeing him in person made it so much worse. He was the kind of guy who looked like he thought he was better than everyone else. Expensive suit, cocky stride. The kind of confidence that only comes from being a complete piece of shit. And then, Lisa. She stepped out of another car, her heels clicking against the pavement, her hair perfectly styled. She smiled at him. Not a forced, polite smile. Not the exhausted, half smile she had been giving me lately. A real smile. And then, right there in front of me, she leaned in and kissed him. Not a quick peck. Not some friendly greeting. A deep, slow, intimate kiss. The kind of kiss that made my stomach churn. I clenched my jaw so hard I thought my teeth might crack. They walked inside together, arm in arm, completely oblivious to the fact that I was sitting there, watching their every move. I could have stormed in right then. I could have followed them inside, caused a scene, made them feel the weight of their betrayal. But I didn't. Because I wasn't done yet. This wasn't just about catching them. It was about destroying them. I sat in my car, watching Lisa and Mike disappear into the hotel. My body was frozen, but my mind was on fire. This wasn't just a hunch anymore. This wasn't paranoia. This was real. And yet, a strange calm settled over me. The kind of calm that comes right before a storm. I wasn't going to lose my temper. I wasn't going to confront them like some desperate, heartbroken fool. No, I was going to end them. But first, I needed proof. Undeniable, airtight proof. I took a deep breath, grabbed my phone, and started recording a video of the hotel entrance. A few minutes later, I saw Mike at the front desk, talking to the receptionist. He was checking in. Lisa stood beside him, twirling her hair like a schoolgirl with a crush. Sickening. They were given a key card, and then, hand in hand, they walked toward the elevators. I zoomed in on the screen, got every detail. Lisa, my wife. The woman I had trusted. The woman who swore she loved me. I didn't look away. I let the pain sink in, burn through every last piece of love I had left for her. Because I needed to feel it. I needed to remember it. This was the moment my marriage died. And now, it was time for the funeral. Laying the groundwork. I didn't follow them inside. That would be reckless. No, I had a better plan. I pulled up the hotel's website and found their contact number. A few minutes later, I was on the phone with the front desk, pretending to be Mike's furious coworker's husband. I just found out my wife is cheating on me with a man named Mike. Last name, I growled, keeping my voice controlled but furious. They just checked into your hotel. I need to know if this is true before I confront her. The receptionist hesitated. Sir, we can't disclose guest information. I don't need a room number, I snapped. I just need to know if he's there. That's it. If you can't confirm it, I'll just show up and cause a scene in your lobby. Your choice. Silence. Then, a sigh. Yes, sir. He checked in a few minutes ago. Thank you, I said and hung up. Perfect. Now I had their location confirmed by a third party. That was going to be useful later. Dropping the bomb. I already had Mike's wife's number saved. We had exchanged contacts after that company dinner months ago. I had always thought she was way too good for him. Sweet, classy, and completely unaware she was married to a piece of garbage. It was time to fix that. I sent her the video. No words. No explanation. Just the truth. She responded almost immediately. What is this? I waited a few minutes, letting the panic settle in. Then, I replied. Your husband. My wife. Together at, hotel name, room, XXX. No sugarcoating. No soft landing. She didn't respond right away, but the little typing bubble popped up, then disappeared, then came back. She was probably hyperventilating. Then, finally, I'm on my way. Good. Because the show was just getting started. I sat in my car, gripping the steering wheel, my heart pounding like a war drum. This was it. The moment the lies shattered. The moment Lisa and Mike faced the destruction they had earned. I imagined the chaos unfolding upstairs. Mike's wife barging in, Lisa scrambling for excuses, both of them caught in the act with nowhere to hide. And I was about to have front row seats. I checked my phone. A new message from Mike's wife. I'm 5 minutes away. I'll handle this. Damn right she would. I stepped out of my car and walked across the street to the hotel lobby. I didn't go inside, just loitered near the entrance, close enough to hear but not enough to be noticed. Then, right on cue, a sleek black SUV screeched to a stop outside the hotel. The door flew open, and out stepped Mike's wife. And she looked pissed. The confrontation. She stormed inside without hesitation. I followed at a distance, keeping to the shadows. Inside, the receptionist looked up, startled, as she marched straight past the front desk toward the elevators. Ma'am, do you need help? She ignored them, stabbing the up button like it personally offended her. A moment later, the elevator doors slid open, and she stepped inside. I didn't follow. I didn't need to. I simply leaned against a nearby pillar, listening to the quiet hum of the elevator rising. I could almost hear the countdown ticking away in my mind. 5, 4, 3, 2. Then, boom. A muffled scream tore through the hotel. Then yelling. Then more screaming. I smiled, watching it burn. I imagined it clearly. Mike's wife storming into the room, finding them tangled up in bed. Lisa's shocked expression, the color draining from her face. Mike scrambling for an excuse, stammering, tripping over his own guilt. And then, the yelling. Lisa, probably trying to deflect, blaming stress, blaming me. Mike, trying to downplay it, to calm his wife down. But there was no calming this storm. Another shout. Then the sound of something crashing. Glass breaking? A lamp knocked over? Maybe she threw something at his head. Good. They deserved every second of it. The aftermath. I stepped outside, breathing in the cool night air. I had done it. I had exposed them. Humiliated them. There was no hiding now. No way to spin this in their favor. I pulled out my phone and sent Lisa a text. Me. Hope it was worth it. Pack your shit when you get home. We're done. Then, I blocked her number. No screaming match. No emotional breakdown. Just silence. Because that would haunt her more than anything. And as I got into my car, ready to leave this nightmare behind, I realized something. I wasn't heartbroken anymore. I was free. Driving home, I expected to feel something. Rage, sadness, regret. But all I felt was relief. Lisa was gone from my life. I had exposed her for what she truly was. No more doubts, no more lies, no more late nights wondering if I was crazy. She had made her choice. And now, she had to live with it. When I pulled into the driveway, the house felt different. Quieter. Emptier. But not in a bad way. More like the kind of quiet that follows a storm. The kind that lets you breathe again. I stepped inside, locking the door behind me. The bed was still made from the morning, our framed wedding photo still sitting on the nightstand. I picked it up, looked at the smiling woman in the picture. The one I thought I knew. The one I trusted. Then, without a second thought, I threw it in the trash. She didn't exist anymore. Lisa's desperate attempt. I was in the middle of pouring myself a drink when my phone buzzed. It was a different number, one I didn't recognize. I almost ignored it, but something told me to check. Lisa. Ryan, please. Don't do this. We need to talk. I smirked. Too late. I didn't reply. Instead, I blocked that number too. Not even 5 minutes later, the house phone rang. I let it go to voicemail. Then, my email pinged. I sighed, pulling up my inbox. From Lisa. Ryan, please. I made a mistake. I wasn't thinking. I love you. Please come home so we can talk. I laughed. She still didn't get it. There was nothing to talk about. But I wasn't done yet. The final blow. Lisa had humiliated me, lied to me, made a fool out of me. So now, I was going to make sure she never forgot it. I sent a mass email to her entire family, our mutual friends, even a few of her coworkers. Subject, Lisa's night at the hotel. Body, hey everyone. Just thought you should know Lisa had an amazing time last night at hotel name with her coworker, Mike. Unfortunately, she forgot to tell her husband first. So now, she's free to be with him whenever she wants. Just thought you all should be up to date. Cheers. I attached the pictures I had taken. The hotel, the kiss, the proof. Then, I hit send. I sat back, taking a sip of my drink as my phone started blowing up. Lisa was about to feel what betrayal really looked like. And I couldn't wait. I barely had time to finish my drink before my phone started vibrating like a damn earthquake. Texts, calls, emails. Lisa's world had just imploded. I glanced at my screen. Her sister was calling. Declined. Her mother. Declined. A few friends. Declined. Then a message popped up from Mike's wife. You're a savage. I just threw all his shit out on the lawn. He came home to find his clothes in the rain. He's begging me to talk. But screw that. Divorce lawyers already lined up. Thanks for the receipts. I smirked. One marriage down. One to go. Lisa had yet to show up. I had no doubt she had seen my email by now, and I knew she'd be scrambling, probably trying to do damage control, spinning her bullshit to anyone who would listen. But there was no way out of this. She had no defense. Lisa shows up and loses it. At exactly 1:12 a.m., my doorbell rang. I didn't move. Then came the banging. I took my time walking to the door, letting her stew in her own panic. When I finally opened it, Lisa stood there, her face pale, mascara streaked down her cheeks. Ryan. I held up my hand. No. She flinched. Please, just let me expla. I laughed. Right in her face. Oh, Lisa. You already explained everything. With your lips. All over Mike's face. Her lower lip trembled. It was a mistake. I tilted my head. Which part? The hotel? The kissing? Or the months of lying? She hesitated. She actually had the audacity to hesitate. Then she switched tactics. We can fix this. I love you, Ryan. I made a mistake, but... Stop. She froze. I took a step closer, lowering my voice. Lisa, you destroyed our marriage the moment you walked into that hotel. I'm just sweeping up the ashes. She sniffled, wringing her hands. You don't mean that. We can go to therapy? I barked out another laugh. Therapy? You think a few counseling sessions are gonna erase what you did? Her face twisted, desperation creeping in. Please, Ryan. We built a life together. You can't just throw it all away. I narrowed my eyes. I didn't throw it away, Lisa. You did. Silence. Then she whispered. I was lonely. I exhaled slowly, shaking my head. And that's supposed to justify screwing around behind my back? You didn't talk to me, Lisa. You didn't try. You just ran to another man. Tears spilled down her cheeks. I don't want to lose you. I stared at her, my expression blank. You already did. Then I stepped back and shut the door in her face. She stood there for a moment, stunned. Then, she screamed. A raw, animalistic sound of frustration and loss. I locked the door, walked back to my living room, and poured myself another drink. For the first time in months, I felt at peace. Lisa could cry all she wanted. She could beg. She could make excuses. It was over. And tomorrow? The divorce papers would be served. The next morning, I woke up feeling lighter than I had in months. No pit in my stomach. No lingering doubts. Just clarity. Lisa was gone. And today, I was making it official. I wasted no time. By 9 a.m., I was sitting across from a divorce lawyer, laying out everything. Lisa's infidelity, the hotel proof, the emails. The lawyer skimmed through the evidence, nodding with the practiced calm of someone who had seen this 100 times before. This is airtight, he said. We can file today. Given the circumstances, you'll have the upper hand in asset division. She won't have much room to fight. Perfect. I signed the paperwork, paid the retainer, and left the office feeling like I had just shaved 200 pounds of dead weight off my life. Lisa was about to learn what consequences felt like. The moment of truth. By 2 p.m., Lisa was officially served. How do I know? Because my phone exploded with messages the second it happened. Lisa, you actually filed? Are you serious? Lisa, Ryan, please, we need to talk. You're making a mistake. Lisa, don't do this. Please. Then, a different message came through. Lisa's mom. Ryan, I just heard. Please reconsider. Lisa is devastated. I smirked. Devastated? Good. She should be. But I wasn't done yet. Collateral damage. While Lisa was busy spiraling, Mike was dealing with his own personal hell. I got another text from Mike's wife. Guess who just got kicked out of his own house? Smiling face with smiling eyes. I laughed out loud. Apparently, she hadn't just thrown his stuff in the yard. She had changed the locks. She was also moving forward with divorce proceedings. Mike and Lisa had ruined 2 marriages. Now, they were losing everything. And the cherry on top? Mike's boss found out. Word had spread fast in their office. Thanks to Lisa's very public breakdown and my carefully placed email, HR caught wind of the scandal. By the end of the day, Mike was put on unpaid leave for violating company conduct policies. I imagined him sitting alone in some shitty motel, surrounded by his own stupidity. Lisa's last-ditch effort. That evening, Lisa showed up at my doorstep again. This time, she didn't bang on the door. She just stood there, looking broken. I opened it, just to hear whatever desperate excuse she had left. Her eyes were red, her hair a mess. Ryan, please. I folded my arms. Please what? I made a mistake, she choked out. I got caught up in something stupid, and I hate myself for it. I lost control. I tilted my head. You lost control? That's your excuse? I was lonely, she whispered. I just wanted to feel something again. I laughed coldly. And now you feel this. Congratulations. She wiped her face, taking a shaky breath. I don't want to lose you. I stared at her for a long moment. Then, in the calmest voice possible, I said, You already did. Then I shut the door for the last time. And this time, she didn't scream. She just left. The next morning, I woke up feeling free. No more pretending. No more questioning myself. No more Lisa. For the first time in years, my mind wasn't clouded by stress and doubt. My home was finally mine again. No more lies contaminating the air. No more fake smiles over breakfast. Just peace. Lisa, on the other hand, she was spiraling. The breakdown begins. By noon, I started hearing whispers from our mutual friends. Lisa wasn't handling things well. She had been blowing up group chats, trying to explain herself, painting me as cold and unforgiving. She claimed she had just made a mistake and that I was being cruel for throwing away our marriage over one bad choice. One bad choice? I guess months of sneaking around, texting another man, and screwing him in a hotel only counted as one mistake in her delusional little world. But the best part? No one was buying it. People were turning against her. Her family was ashamed. Her friends were keeping their distance. Even people who might have felt sympathy at first were backing away once they saw the hotel proof. Lisa wasn't the victim she was pretending to be. She was just a cheater who got caught. The grand gesture. That night, I was out with a couple of buddies, celebrating my newly single life with whiskey and laughter, when my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. I checked. Lisa. I sighed, already knowing it was going to be some desperate plea. But when I opened it, it wasn't just a message. It was a video. I hit play. Lisa was sitting in our dimly lit bedroom, the one she used to share with me, her face streaked with tears, her voice shaky. Ryan, I don't know what else to do. I've lost you. I've lost everything. I don't want to be here anymore. I stared at the screen, my expression blank. So this was her next move. Manipulation. A last-ditch attempt to guilt me into talking to her. I exhaled, rubbing my temples. This was not my problem anymore. I wasn't going to be sucked back into her mess. So I did the only thing I knew would end it once and for all. I forwarded the video to her sister and her mother, then turned off my phone. Lisa wasn't my responsibility. She had made her bed. And now, she could lie in it. The next morning, I turned my phone back on and saw exactly what I expected. Dozens of missed calls and texts. Lisa's sister. Lisa's mother. Even a couple of her friends. All begging me to talk to her. Ryan, please. She's not in a good place. She's really struggling. Just talk to her once. She's saying she can't live without you. I sighed, rubbing my eyes. Not my problem. Lisa wasn't doing this because she was actually remorseful. She wasn't breaking down because she had suddenly realized how much she loved me. She was doing this because she lost. She had gambled our marriage away for a cheap office affair. And now that everything had crumbled around her, she was playing the victim. I wasn't falling for it. The final call. I decided to shut this down once and for all. I picked up the phone and called Lisa's sister. Ryan. Thank God I... Stop. My voice was calm, cold. I'm only calling to say this once. I am done with Lisa. I don't care what she says, what she does, or how many people she sends to beg for her. I don't care about her tears, her apologies, or her sudden realization that she made a mistake. Silence. She didn't cry when she was sneaking off to that hotel, I continued. She wasn't devastated when she was lying to my face. She only cares now because she got caught? Lisa's sister inhaled sharply, but she didn't interrupt. She is not my responsibility, I said. If she's struggling, she needs therapy, not me. If she's in a bad place, that's for her family to handle, not me. So stop calling me. Stop texting me. Stop trying to fix this. There's nothing left to fix. Another long silence. Then a quiet sigh. Okay, she finally said. I get it. Good. I hung up. And just like that, I was free. The turning point. Over the next few days, Lisa's texts stopped. Her family backed off. Even our mutual friends, who had been hesitant to take sides, finally saw Lisa for what she was. And one by one, they cut her off too. Her grand gesture had backfired. Instead of winning sympathy, she had just pushed everyone further away. She was truly alone now. And I was finally moving forward. Days passed, then a full week, and for the first time in a long time, my life felt normal again. No more mind games. No more stress. Just peace. Lisa had gone silent. No texts, no calls, no unexpected visits. At first, I thought she was finally accepting the consequences of her actions. Maybe she had packed up and moved on. But then I got a call from an unexpected source, her boss. The call that said it all. I didn't even know Lisa's boss had my number, so when his name popped up on my phone, I hesitated before answering. Hello? Ryan, this is Greg. I know this is awkward, but I thought you should know what's going on with Lisa. I leaned back in my chair. What's she done now? He sighed. She's a mess. She hasn't been coming to work. She's been showing up late, missing meetings, and when she does come in, she's barely functioning. It's like she's completely checked out. I didn't say anything. I tried talking to her, Greg continued. Told her she needed to take some time off, get her head straight, but she just broke down. Started crying in my office, saying she ruined her life, that she lost everything. I exhaled slowly. Not my problem. She admitted the affair, Greg added. Said she lost you because of it. I had no idea, man. If I had known what was going on between her and Mike, I would have shut that down immediately. I smirked. Doesn't matter now. She did this to herself. He was silent for a moment, then said, yeah, she did. Then he dropped the real bombshell. We had to let her go. Now that got my attention. What? She's not capable of doing her job anymore. She's distracted, unreliable, and, to be blunt, a liability. HR made the call this morning. Lisa had lost everything. Her husband, her home, her reputation, and now, her job. She had hit rock bottom. The inevitable message. It didn't take long for her to reach out. That night, I got a single text from an unknown number. Lisa, I lost my job. I lost everything. Please, Ryan, I don't know where else to go. I stared at the message for a full minute. Then I deleted it. No reply. No sympathy. No second chances. She wanted freedom? She got it. And now? She was truly, completely alone. After ignoring Lisa's desperate text, I expected her to show up at my door again, begging for another chance. But she didn't. Not that night. Not the next day. She had nowhere to go, and I knew it. Her parents were disgusted with her. Her sister had stopped defending her. Her friends had all but abandoned her. And now, without a job, she didn't even have the money to stay in a hotel. But I wasn't about to save her. She had made her choices. And now, she had to live with them. The storage unit solution. A few days later, I made a decision. Lisa's stuff was still in the house. Her clothes, her shoes, her stupid little trinkets that used to clutter up the living room. I wanted it gone. So, I rented a storage unit, packed everything up, and dumped it there. Then, I sent her a single text. Me, your things are in storage. Here's the address and the code. You have 1 month before I stop paying for it. No greeting. No emotion. Just facts. She responded almost immediately. Lisa, Ryan, please. Don't do this. Just let me come home. We can talk. Home? There was no home left for her. I didn't respond. Lisa's last stand. That evening, as I was sitting on the couch, sipping a beer, there was a knock at the door. I already knew who it was. I took my time answering. When I finally opened the door, Lisa stood there. A shell of the woman she used to be. Her hair was messy, her eyes swollen from crying. She looked exhausted, defeated. Ryan, she whispered. I just stared at her. Please, she begged, voice trembling. I have nothing left. Nowhere to go. I leaned against the doorframe. Not my problem. Tears welled up in her eyes. I'm sorry. I tilted my head. For what, exactly? She swallowed hard. For ruining everything. I crossed my arms. You didn't just ruin our marriage, Lisa. You ruined your own life. And now you want me to fix it? She shook her head quickly. No, you just what? I cut her off. Want a warm bed? A free pass to start over? A husband who magically forgets everything you did? She didn't answer, because she knew the truth. That was what she wanted, but she wasn't getting it. I exhaled, shaking my head. You don't get to cheat, lie, burn our marriage to the ground, and then come crawling back when everything falls apart. She sniffled. I don't know what else to do. I shrugged. Not my problem. Then, I shut the door in her face. I stood there, listening. At first, silence. Then, a quiet sob. Then the sound of her footsteps walking away. And this time, she didn't come back. After shutting the door on Lisa for the last time, I stood there for a moment, listening to the silence. No more begging. No more excuses. No more manipulations. She was gone. And for the first time in months, I felt something I never thought I'd feel after all this. Peace. The final cut. The divorce was finalized 2 months later. Lisa didn't fight it. She couldn't. There was no argument to make, no way to spin what she did. With all the proof I had, she would have been laughed out of any courtroom. She got nothing. I kept the house, the car, the savings. She walked away with whatever she could carry from the storage unit, and that was it. I heard she was crashing on a friend's couch, trying to piece her life back together. Mike, after getting dumped by his wife, fired from his job, and socially exiled, he left the city. No one's heard from him since. They both got exactly what they deserved. Moving forward. It's been almost a year now. I won't lie, at first, it was weird being alone in the house. I had spent years building a life with someone who turned out to be a complete stranger. But you know what? I'm happier now than I ever was with Lisa. I wake up without stress. I come home without wondering if I'm being lied to. I laugh more. I go out more. Hell, I even started dating again. Nothing serious yet, but for the first time in a long time, I feel like me again. Lisa tried reaching out once. A pathetic, half-assed email saying she had found God and wanted to make amends. I never responded. Some bridges aren't meant to be rebuilt. Some people don't deserve a second chance. She threw me away like I meant nothing. So now, she's nothing to me. And I've never been happier.